Hi everyone and welcome back to The Brief. I'm Sanam Siddiqui presenting to you the brief news today.
This episode is about Vikas Dubey, his encounter, the actions taken by the UP government and the petitions filed in the Honorable Supreme Court as well as the Allahabad High Court against state-sanctioned murder. On the 14th of July, the Supreme Court stated that it was inclined to appoint a committee headed by a retired judge similar to what was done in the Hyderabad encounter case. In December of 2019, the Chief Justice of India had asked the Telangana government to suggest the name of a retired Supreme Court judge to probe the killing of 4 men who allegedly raped and murdered a 26-year-old vet on the outskirts of Hyderabad. The Honorable Court was hearing petitions that sought a court-monitored probe through a special investigation team, Central Bureau of Investigation or National Investigation Agency into the encounter deaths of Vikas Dubey and his aides, and the deep criminal politician nexus in Uttar Pradesh. The Solicitor General representing UP stated that the UP government had taken the issue seriously and should be allowed to file an affidavit to clarify its stand. Therefore, the Honorable Court has instructed the UP government to file a status report in the Vikas Dubey case by Thursday. The 3-judge bench, headed by the Chief Justice of India, said that it is inclined to form a judicial committee. However, an order has not yet been passed. The matter is listed for further consideration on the 20th of July.
Gangster Vikas Dubey was accused of masterminding an ambush at his Bikru village on the night of the 2nd of July. He allegedly killed 8 policemen who had come to arrest him, including the DSP, Devendra Mishra. This led to a massive manhunt for Vikas Dubey. He had a bounty on his head for 5 lakh for any information leading to his arrest. He was shot dead on Friday morning by the UP police, by the Uttar Pradesh police, who claimed that he had tried to flee when the car carrying him from Ujjain overturned on an isolated stretch of the highway on the outskirts of the city. The police claimed that the isolated stretch of road was slippery after the rains. When he started firing after snatching a pistol from one of the 4 policemen injured in the accident, police opened fire in self-defense. The killing has been described by civil rights groups and opposition political parties as a state-sanctioned murder. A press release stated that he was immediately taken to the hospital where he died during treatment. A doctor told reporters that Dubey had sustained 4 bullet wounds, 3 in the chest and 1 in the hand. 2 policemen were also wounded, 1 in the arm and the other in the hand. Hours before the encounter, an advocate had filed a petition in the Supreme Court seeking a direction to the UP government and police to ensure that this gangster is not killed.
Since the petition did not get listed before the Honorable Supreme Court before Dubey was killed, the petitioner later informed the Supreme Court registry that he be allowed to amend the prayer in his petition. The plea now seeks a CBI-monitored investigation into the death of all the accused and strict action to be taken against the policemen and all those involved.
The brief facts of this case are such. 8 policemen, including SP Devendra Mishra, were ambushed in Bikru village in Chaubepur area of Kanpur. They died after bullets were fired from rooftops in the early morning of the 3rd of July. On the same day, 2 of Dubey's alleged accomplices, Prem Prakash Pandey and Atul Dubey, were killed by police in an encounter just hours after the 8 policemen were gunned down. On the 8th of July, the police killed another 8, Amar Dubey. He was Vikas's nephew and his bodyguard. He was also a co-accused in the Bikru ambush. He had a reward of 50,000 announced for any information about him. Police said that 2 policemen were injured in this encounter. On the 8th of July, that is Wednesday, police arrested the suspended Chaubepur station officer Vinay Tiwari and sub-inspector K.K. Sharma on charges of leaking information about the police action and thereby conspiring against the police team at Bikru. They've also been arrested on charges of fleeing the encounter site and putting the lives of other policemen in danger. On the 9th of July, 2 more alleged accomplices, Prabhat and Praveen, were killed in separate encounters in Kanpur and Etawah districts. One of them, Prabhat, had a reward of 50,000 on his head. He was arrested by Haryana police on Wednesday, that is the 8th of July, and was being brought to Uttar Pradesh on a transit remand when he tried to escape from police custody and was shot. The police van that was ferrying him allegedly broke down, following which he tried to flee and reportedly snatched a pistol from a policeman. Police opened fire at Prabhat in self-defense, triggering an encounter. Praveen had a bounty of 50,000 on him. He was shot dead by UP police in Etawah. Etawah Senior Superintendent of Police, Akash Tomar, told NDTV, around 3 a.m., a Swift Desire was looted by 4 armed men on a Scorpio. They were stopped about an hour later by the cops when they tried to escape. The police chased them and an unidentified man suffered multiple injuries and crossfire. He was declared brought dead at the hospital. The police stated they'd also recovered a pistol and a rifle from him. On the 9th of July, Vikas Dubey was arrested. There have been allegations that he may have surrendered. There is footage available online of Dubey walking patiently alongside police personnel on the temple premises where he was found. Social media users have stated that there is no evidence of any kind of a struggle. Vikas Dubey's wife and son were taken in custody hours after he was caught. On the 11th of July, the Enforcement Directorate stated that it was going to investigate the assets owned by Dubey and his family and associates, while the UP government formed an SIT, a Special Investigative Team, on the 11th. The Special Investigation Team has been told to submit a report by the 31st of July. The Congress has demanded a Supreme Court monitored probe into all the aspects of the Kanpur episode to bring out the truth about those who had granted protection to him and the alleged political criminal nexus in Uttar Pradesh. However, the government's press release doesn't mention a probe into the encounter that killed Dubey. The SIT will inquire into the following points. What action was taken on cases filed against Vikas Dubey? Was the action enough to punish Vikas Dubey? What action was taken to cancel Vikas Dubey's bail? How many complaints were received against Vikas Dubey from members of the public? What officer investigated these complaints and what action was taken? How many police officials came in contact with Vikas Dubey in the past 1 year? How many colluded with him? Which officers avoided invoking the NSA, the Gangster Act, the Gunda Act against Vikas Dubey? Why did the police not know about the weapons that Vikas Dubey and his henchmen were carrying? Who is responsible for this? Which police officers cleared the weapons license for Vikas Dubey and his gang in spite of the crimes they had committed? Why were the licenses not cancelled in spite of the spate of crimes? How much property has Vikas Dubey and his henchmen acquired through illegal means? Which officers helped Vikas Dubey to acquire such property? Did Vikas Dubey capture land owned by the government? Who is responsible for such a capture and why hasn't the land been recovered? Congress, however, demands that the unholy nexus between organized crime and the ilk of Vikas Dubey, with those sitting in the echelons of power, be probed by a sitting Supreme Court judge. The Wire has reported that one of the members of the SIT has himself been charge sheeted for the crime of killing an innocent man in a fake encounter 13 years ago. Director General Ravindra Gaud allegedly shot into infamy for his role in the fake encounter of a young medicine trader, Mukul Gupta, in Bareilly on the 30th of June 2007. Gupta was a young man in his 20s and he was gunned down by trigger-happy policemen who tried to justify their act by describing him as a mafia don who was wanted in connection with major crimes. Gupta's elderly father, Brijendra Gupta, decided to fight back against the gross injustice to his innocent son. The Allahabad High Court accepted his plea for a CBI probe in which 10 policemen, including the DIG, was charge sheeted on the 6th of August 2014. However, he was not prosecuted as the State Department chose to not grant the sanction for the case against him to proceed. Shockingly, Gupta's parents were murdered a year later, in April of 2015, and the investigation has never progressed. Before they were killed, the parents had moved the High Court, which directed the state government to grant permission for his prosecution. The ex-DIG moved the Supreme Court, which refused to provide him any relief against the prosecution, even as it stayed his arrest. Yet the case against him never proceeded. On the 11th of July, the People's Union for Civil Liberties filed an application in the Honorable Supreme Court seeking a special investigation team for an SIT-monitored probe into the killing of Vikas Dubey and his associates. They've also sought a constitution of a committee headed by a retired Supreme Court judge to inquire into the encounters that have taken place in the state of Uttar Pradesh and the criminal political nexus which has been prevailing in the state. The People's Union for Civil Liberties, that is PUCL, asserts that police encounters, that is administrative liquidation, is a serious crime, and that is murder or culpable homicide, and is an offense against the entire society. It adds, if such a crime is committed with the support of the state or whether state condones such an offense, it takes a very serious dimension, questioning the entire rule of law and governance in accordance with the Constitution. The present application has been filed in an already pending public interest litigation that was filed in 2018 by PUCL, questioning the encounters which had taken place in the state of UP from the 1st of January 2017 to the 31st of March 2018, and which have continued till today. The PIL states that more than 1,000 encounters had taken place, resulting in the death of 49 persons and injuries to 370 people during the said period. As per PUCL's plea during the pendency of the petition before the Honorable Supreme Court, the number of encounters has increased to 2,000 and deaths to 66, and 1,859 injured in 2019. It was prayed that a monitoring committee headed by a retired Supreme Court judge should inquire into the role played by all authorities and all people who have directly or indirectly supported the encounter killings by abdicating their legal duties and responsibilities. The same is still pending adjudication. There is a second plea filed in the Honorable Supreme Court on this issue. As before Vikas Dubey was killed, a PIL was filed in the Supreme Court seeking an investigation into the fake encounters of his alleged associates. The PIL stated that there is every possibility that Dubey, arrested on the 9th of July, will be killed by the police. It questioned how 5 accused were arrested, caught, and then killed by the police in the same kind of encounter. The PIL also brought up the possibility that Vikas Dubey was not arrested and had voluntarily surrendered. The police, however, state that the private security guards of the temple informed them, after which Dubey was taken to the police station and interrogated. A Delhi-based lawyer has also moved the Honorable Supreme Court seeking a probe into the instant injustice given by the Uttar Pradesh police to gangsters like Vikas Dubey. The PIL raises serious questions on whether instant justice given by the police is permissible in a democratic society governed by the rule of law. The PIL says that the UP police is the victim, investigator, as well as the affected party of the incident. And since the issue involves a broader nexus, it requires to be investigated by an independent agency such as the CBI or the NIA or any court-monitored body. The PIL has sought a judicial inquiry not only into Dubey's encounter, but also all the encounter killings after the July 2nd incident. The PIL points out how Vikas Dubey's house is completely destroyed, that is, the crime scene was completely destroyed with the help of JCB machines the day after the police was ambushed. The PIL states that the police did not act under any law and destruction of a house and vehicles is completely illegal. Section 47 of the Code of Criminal Procedure is limited to breaking down the door for passage to make arrests, but destruction of the property where the crime scene occurred one day after the incident is not only unprofessional, but is a case of utter lawlessness by a law enforcement agency. The PIL further states that the police went on a killing spree. The PIL quotes a 50-year-old judgment of the Allahabad High Court, which states, there is not a single lawless group in the whole of the country whose record of crime comes anywhere near the record of that single organized unit which is known as the Indian Police Force. The police force in Uttar Pradesh is an organized gang of criminals. The PIL asks whether the killing of Vikas Dubey is done in revenge and in a cold-blooded manner. The PIL states that the same needs to be investigated by an independent agency. Multiple news channels had reported that the police had planned on killing Vikas Dubey at least 12 hours before the encounter. Apart from these, similar other petitions have also been placed before the Chief Justice in the form of letter petitions and also before the Allahabad High Court, requiring independent investigation into the alleged fake encounter of Vikas Dubey and his associates. Their plea poses the following queries: whether the rule of law excuses a killing in an encounter, whether a police encounter is an exception to the principle of an accused being innocent until proved otherwise, whether a police encounter is an exception to the right of life and due procedure. While admitting the existence of dreaded criminals in society, the petitioners aver that encounters can never be an option in acting against people accused of a crime. There is no second thought to the fact that yes, in our society, we have some dreaded criminals against whom running a fair trial is difficult. But this gives no right to the police to go for encounters as an ultimate option against hardcore criminals and gangsters, the petitioners state. They've also referred to a Supreme Court judgment in the case Prakash Kadam versus Ram Prasad Vishwanath Gupta. The Honorable Supreme Court had observed that fake encounters by the police are nothing but cold-blooded murders, and those committing them must be given death sentences, placing them in the category of the rarest of rare cases. In paragraph 26 of this judgment, the Honorable Supreme Court had observed that trigger-happy policemen who think they can kill people in the name of encounters and get away with it should know that the gallows await them. The petitioners state that by the petition, they're seeking to advocate the rule of law in the state. There is no exception to the rule of law. Be it any state machinery, nothing is above the Constitution of India. This was stated in representation requesting your lordship to take cognizance and a direct judicial probe of the extrajudicial killing of gangster criminal Vikas Dubey by Uttar Pradesh police on the 10th of July 2020. Another advocate has written a letter to the Chief Justice of the Allahabad High Court, titling it regarding representation requesting your lordship to take cognizance and direct a judicial probe of the extrajudicial killing of gangster Vikas Dubey by the Uttar Pradesh police on the 10th of July. This advocate described the police's version of Dubey's death as fictional and rather plagiarized from some Bollywood movie. This letter also seeks a judicial probe of the gangster's death supervised by a sitting judge of the Allahabad High Court. It goes on to state that extrajudicial killings should not be celebrated and a spirit of vengeance should not be allowed to control the sentiments of any state machinery. However, a former Supreme Court judge has stated that this gangster was a threat to the rule of law and that police action was justified. One of the police officers that was suspended allegedly for tipping off the gangster has filed a petition in the Supreme Court on the 12th of July. The petition has sought protection for Dubey and for his wife and has asked for transfer of the investigation to an independent investigative agency. He's also sought a direction to the UP government not to take him for any interrogation outside the jail where he is presently lodged. His petition argues that extrajudicial killings of Vikas Dubey and his alleged associates shows the modus operandi of all the investigative agencies involved in investigating the present FIR. It states, it is clearly evident that the institutions tasked with the protection of law and order in the state have taken the law into their own hands and have been killing the accused persons as soon as arresting such persons. What do you think? Do you believe that the encounter of Vikas Dubey was justified? Or do you believe that the entire machinery for the rule of law can come crumbling down if we start sanctioning murders by the state? Mahatma Gandhi had said that if I want to deprive you of your watch, I shall certainly have to fight you for it. If I want to buy your watch, I shall have to pay for it. And if I want a gift, I shall have to plead for it. And according to the means that I employ, the watch is either stolen property, my property, or a donation. Thus, we see three different results from three different means. Will you still say that the means do not matter? If you like this video, please press on the subscribe button below. Thank you. Of Dubey's death into the fake account came and recovered his alleged accomplices ambush at his Bakru. A Supreme Court justice